Hello and welcome to the Fluency First podcast, the podcast that helps you learn real English through real conversations. I'm Dave, and today I have a very special guest, my father. I don't usually say father, do I?
No, you don't. No.
My dad, Ian. But I do call you Ian.
You do.
And that's something we do in our family, which is a bit strange, isn't it?
Well, it's not that unusual now, I don't think.
Really?
Not nowadays.
Calling your parents by their first names. Anyway, at the start of every podcast, we start with small talk, right? That's easy topics like the weather, your weekend, things like that. So, Dad, what do you think of the weather nowadays?
Well, it's very changeable. Like in the whole of the UK, you don't know what to expect from one day to the next. So,
yeah, it's very, what's the word? Sporadic.
Yeah. So
it's rain and then sunshine.
Yeah. So sometimes it's sunny, and then suddenly it rains.
Yeah.
So.
And how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah. I've had quite a relaxed day.
Yeah. What have you been doing this morning?
I've been working a little this morning, putting a few signs up in Derbyshire villages. It's like a post-retirement job that I do. So I quite enjoy it.
Yeah. And you like driving?
I love driving. Yeah.
And you like the countryside?
I like both those things. Yeah.
Have you been watching anything good lately?
On the TV, you mean?
Sure, or movies, if you've seen an interesting movie.
Well, we tend to watch very predictable things, like Escape to the Country and A Place in the Sun and things like that.
What can you describe what shows like Escape to the Country is about?
Well, it's about people who move usually out of the city to a place in the countryside somewhere, and they buy a new house and move into a new area.
And A Place in the Sun, they always move abroad, right?
Yeah, they always move abroad.
Usually in Spain, France, or Portugal.
Yeah, or Italy as well, or Bulgaria.
Yeah. Lovely countries.
Do
you have any new projects or hobbies on the go?
I'm trying to start running again. So I've been doing a lot of that lately, or not a lot of it, but more than I used to. So I've been out a few times.
Yeah, you're doing really well. Actually, today's main topic is hobbies, but we will talk about that a little bit later. First, let's talk a bit about you and your background. So, Dad, where were you born?
I was born in Birmingham, which is part in the UK, and I lived there for the first 20 years of my life, really.
But you don't have a Birmingham accent, really. Why do you think that is?
That's really interesting. I don't know why. I've got two sisters, and they've both got very heavy, what they call Brummie accents, Birmingham accents. And I think it was because I was in the top class at school with all the posh kids who were from a part of Birmingham where they spoke differently. And also my dad was an English teacher, and he was from Somerset. My mother was Welsh, so it wasn't common in the house. Although it's interesting that my two sisters have got a marked accent and I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know quite why.
And some people say my accent is actually similar to yours. And growing up, I used to answer the phone and Dad's friends would think I was him. Oh, Ian, let's meet. I was, I'm not Ian, please.
Yeah.
Did your dad have a similar accent to you?
No.
It was a very Somerset.
It wasn't
Somerset.
It wasn't Somerset really. It was just a neutral accent.
But was it southern? So did he say?
No.
Did he say Bath, grass?
No. It was just it. I mean, if you could have somebody with no particular accent, he was that person.
But there's always an accent. For example, if he says Bath and grass, then it tends to be more northern. For example, I think I have a neutral northern accent.
Yeah, well, I'd say my dad probably had a neutral southern accent. That would how I would describe it. Yeah.
Okay, and Can you give us your best Birmingham impression?
I can't. I can't. Well, actually, the only time people know I'm from Birmingham is when I say something.
Well, you've got a few things.
Something.
You say something, years.
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 Yeah.
Years and years, you say. And sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You do say that sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a few things that let it slip, but not many. And not many people notice or pick up that I'm from Birmingham. A few do, but not many.
I always say that the Birmingham accent is like the only accent in a minor key. It just sounds a little bit sad, even when you're happy, you know?
People think that people from Birmingham are not intelligent, often.
Well, that's not true.
I know it's not true, but they often think that because it's not one of the most attractive accents.
It's very friendly, though, you know?
I suppose
Would you
it
like
is.
a cup of tea?
I suppose it is.
I'm so happy.
I suppose it is, yeah. It is friendly. It is friendly and warm, yeah.
Yeah, very friendly one. Okay, I think we're talking a bit too much about accents, to be honest. But so now you live in Sheffield. What made you move here?
A job. I moved first of all to Derbyshire, and then I moved to Sheffield. I was sort of chasing promotion at the time, so moved to Sheffield and got a job in at the time Sheffield Council.
And do you like living in Sheffield?
I do. Yeah, it's a lovely place. It's very green. There's a good sense of community here.
Is it the greenest city in England?
Well, I think it's said to be. I'm not sure whether that's accurate or not, but it is very green, and it borders the Peak District. So it's very easy from our house to get into the Peak District.
The countryside is beautiful. So what kind of things did you enjoy as a kid?
As a
child?
Well, I didn't go out a lot actually, but I used to enjoy playing football with my mates. But the thing I really took to when I was like 17 was driving. I got a car, passed my test in 3 weeks, and I used to drive all my mates around, and I used to love driving.
Did you view that as a hobby?
Well, I suppose I was just very attracted to driving. I used to like driving, and I used to drive very fast at the time. Sometimes I shouldn't have done, but I did. But yeah.
And you said, I want to really talk about when you were a kid, though, when you were a child. Were you allowed to play football?
Well, I wasn't. My mother didn't really allow me to play football much. Didn't want me to mix with the other lads across the road. I don't know why, but that's a bit of a sadness for me because I didn't have a chance to play football or become good at football. But I later discovered that I was good at some sports.
It's interesting, because the reason why I don't play football or like football is connected to you not really playing or liking football.
Right.
Which is, in turn, connected to your mum not allowing you to play football as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I don't know why she wouldn't let me, but eventually when I got a bit older, like 14, 15, I just went anyway. So,
okay.
But by that time I hadn't really developed good skills.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Okay, now it's time for the main topic, which is hobbies and passions and even obsession. So the first question is, what kind of hobbies did you have when you were younger?
Well, squash was the main one.
Squash. Tell us about squash. What is it?
Well, it's a game with a racket. It's played indoors. There's a back wall, so you can hit the ball and you can wait for it to bounce off the back wall. It's a bit like paddle, which has become very common, but that's often outdoors. I think it's usually outdoors. But squash is indoors on a court, and the ball goes very, very fast, and it's very energetic sport. Really super energetic.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. And I used to just go every day to the squash club. An example would be I found that the squash club was closed on Christmas Day, and I was so disappointed. I thought, why are they shutting the club? I can't go and play. I can't go and practice. So I used to go and practice and play every day. And I used to do that with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. And she was also She was a good squash player, actually, whereas I was a grafter. That means really I used to have to work at it very hard. I was very fit, but I wasn't very talented with a racket, whereas Wendy, my wife, was the opposite, really. She wasn't as fit as I was, but she was far more talented with a racket.
I think that's similar to me in that I'm not naturally a good shooter in basketball, but it's just the discipline, the working hard at it, the consistency, the persistence. Lots of new words for you, maybe, everyone. So, squash was your first real passion.
Yeah.
/ obsession, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I think your obsessive streak has seeped into me.
I think you are obsessed. Yes.
I do get a little bit obsessed with things, don't I? Languages, guitar, chess.
It's one of the things I admire about
basketball. Yeah. But anyway, squash led into a different passion. What was that?
Yeah, well, it used to run to keep fit for squash. And when I used to run at school, I remember we used to do cross country. We used to do it after lunch, and so I could never do it because I used to get stitch, and so I thought I'm no good as a runner at all. And then when I moved to Derbyshire, my first job really, my boss asked me to go for a run with him. It was before lunch, so it was in the woods, very rough, lots of trails and things, and I found that I was extraordinary. I beat him really easily, and I thought, what's this? What's going on? And it was because I'd not eaten.
I'm the same. Yeah.
So then I started to run every day, and I used to run until I was sick, really, till I was, was vomiting and puking up, because I just drive myself so hard that that's what I used to do.
And you used to have a running diary, because I found it in the attic, the loft.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I used to record the runs every day and the times and everything. And
what was it that you liked about running so much?
I think it was something I was good at. So I was, I wasn't extraordinary, but I could run a 5-minute mile, which is I was a lot lighter then than I am now. But I used to just enjoy being good at something, and used to win races sometimes. Well, we used to win team races. We used to be in teams, and we used to win some of those races sometimes. So that was really good.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really like chess, but I'm naturally really bad at it. Like, my brain doesn't seem to work that way, yet I have some weird passion for it. But other things like, basketball, I naturally am good with a ball in my hands and bouncing and stuff. Was there anyone who inspired you to get into those things, like squash, for example? Like,
oh, yeah.
How did you get into that?
Well, there were a couple of players at the club. One used to play for England, and I used to admire them. Watch them on court and just admire the way they used to play. But
what I mean is, was there anyone who inspired you to get into them, to start squash? Like, you didn't just one day decide, I'm going to try squash.
I think there was a friend that played, and he got me interested, but it didn't really inspire me. But I thought, well, I'll try it. And then once I tried it, I liked it. So I sort of stuck with it then. And it's very sociable squash. I used to play in teams, and you'd have a drink afterwards, after a game. And it was really nice activity, very very social. A lot of interaction, and you play people, and you want to beat them, but afterwards you're good friends. And so.
It was extremely popular in England in kind of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Now it's difficult to find a court anywhere, apart from a few private clubs. So
it's a shame, really.
Yeah, but there are other things, like me and Wendy are going to play pickleball, which is the new.
She talked about it.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's the new version of paddle, really, I think. So I'm going to go along and try that. So.
That'd be good. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, it does sound very easy, but
well, don't speak too soon, Dad.
No, I won't.
So you would say that you got obsessed with some of your hobbies?
Oh yeah, I'll acknowledge that I've got an obsessive streak. I've also got an addictive personality, so I have to be careful not to get addicted to bad things. Like I smoked for a time when I was younger, but not for long. I've never drunk a lot, but I can be aware that I could if I wanted to. Well, not wanted to, but if I could easily
become an
alcoholic. Yeah. But I'm quite careful about that, and generally don't drink in the week, and drink a little at the weekend. That's all.
It's interesting because I also have an addictive personality, and I'm very aware of it. For example, I can't play video games, computer games or video games, because I will just get really obsessed with them.
Yeah. Well, I used to play Tetris, which was one of the very, very early games, and I used to wake up at night seeing the things coming down the screen, and I had to stop. So it's very similar.
So you imagine them in
the screen. Yeah. It was keeping me awake at night.
Oh my goodness, that's quite funny. So did you switch hobbies? Did you switch from playing squash and then into running, or were you doing both?
I was doing both. I'd play squash on a Saturday night, and I'd do a half marathon on the Sunday morning.
Wow.
So I was truly obsessed.
Pretty fit then.
Truly
as well.
obsessed. I was very fit. Yeah.
Wow.
I was very fit.
Impressive. Do you think it's important to have hobbies? Like if you meet someone and they don't have any hobbies or passions in their life.
Well, I think it is. At the moment, I've had to rediscover new hobbies. Like I'm doing a lot more walking. And yesterday, for example, I joined the Ramblers Association, and I went for the first walk yesterday with a group of people, which was interesting. New people. I never met them before.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
And what was that like?
Well, it was interesting. I think I chose a group that was very friendly, and they're really nice people, but they're all a bit old, and the distance, it just wasn't quite enough for me, really. So I needed to do.
You like doing long walks?
Well, I think I need to go with a different group. But I'm also walking the coastal path at the moment with a friend and a few friends, and we're doing it in 3-day blocks. I've done 5 3-day blocks so far, and then we do like long distances. And
when you say coastal path, there are different paths that you can do, right?
Yeah.
Which coast?
It's called the Southwest Coastal Path, which is the southwest of England, basically. Well, it's a very big path. It's over 600 miles long. Goes around Cornwall, Devon, Somerset. Those are counties of England. So it's very long, and it's a lot of ascent, a lot of climbing. But it's lovely. It's just wonderful.
I'd like to do that someday. Do you think it's important then to try new things throughout your life?
I think it is. Yeah. So you need to, change your hobbies as time goes on, as you get older. Like I couldn't play squash now, and it's not as popular, is it? But I can run. But I run and walk, and it's not as competitive. And it's very sociable and friendly, and I like that a lot.
I think people are very reluctant to actually try new things. Why do you think that is?
I think they get set in their ways. And just not prepared to try something new for fear of embarrassment, or they're not good at it, or something like that stops them.
I always ask people, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Right? And that means, when was the last time you did something completely new? So when was the last time you did something for the first time?
Well, yesterday, when I went for a walk with a group of new people, brand new people. Yeah. So there's a theory that about what they call big surprises, that when you're young, you get lots and lots of big surprises because lots of things are new and different, and that's engaging and gives you a zest for life. And as you get older, you get less big surprises because you've seen it all before, you've done it before, And so I think you need to find new big surprises in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
New relationships, new hobbies, new things to do, new places to go, and those sorts of things.
And you're doing that. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So, did you meet new people through your hobbies?
Oh yes. Well, what happens with squash? You join a club, and you play with your mates, the people you know, but actually you need to find people who you're well matched with.
Skill-wise?
Yeah. So you have a good game, because if somebody's a lot better than you, they'll just wipe the floor with you. It won't be a very satisfying experience for you, and it won't be a very satisfying experience for them. So you need to find people you're equally matched with, reasonably equally matched with. And the way they do that in a squash club is they have a league system. So you go into leagues and you compete in leagues. With people of similar ability, and so you meet a lot of different people that way.
There's a hobby we haven't talked about yet that you play quite often. Do you know what it is?
No.
Snooker.
Oh, snooker, yes. Oh, I do like snooker, yeah.
You play it quite a lot.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So when did you first get into snooker?
Oh, I've forgotten about that actually, but I got into it when I was like 18.
Completely forgot about it.
Yeah. So
Right.
I wouldn't...
Were there snooker halls when you were 18 then?
Yeah, well, I used to go to the Conservative Club actually. So
We don't talk about politics here, Dan.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I used to go to the Conservative Club where there was a snooker table, and used to play there.
Right.
And I found I was reasonable at it. It wasn't fantastic, but I was a reasonable player.
And you enjoy it now as well, don't you?
Yeah,
you have a few people you play with.
Yeah, I've got...
I've played with you occasionally. I'm not very good, unfortunately, but...
I have to play again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I usually go with my friend Paul. We play a lot, and we usually go and have a couple of beers afterwards.
Sounds nice.
And he has more beers than me, actually, but yeah.
Be careful, he's watching this.
Yeah.
Okay, this only 2 questions, but it's about balance and burnout. Do you think you ever went too far
Yes.
with a hobby?
Oh, yes. I injured myself sometimes running, training to try and get good for races and things. And sometimes when I got injured, I carried on running, and I should have stopped because it got a lot worse, and I was off for 6 months,
So how do you find balance between hobbies and work or family life?
I find it's very hectic at the moment because I work, as I said earlier, a little. I've got grandchildren who we have to look after. We've got Wendy's parents we have to look after. And we have lots of social events, and so sometimes it's difficult to juggle everything.
What about when I was young? You still played a fair amount of squash.
Yeah,
How did you balance that?
I mean, it is interesting that when you think about that, because I was a lot busier in a way with 3 kids and a full-time job. And I used to travel a lot abroad, and so I'd be away a lot in the week and everything for weeks and weeks and weeks, for a long time.
Which countries did you go to?
Australia, America, Indonesia, China, India, all of Europe. So I've travelled extensively. Korea, so yeah, lots of countries. So yeah, and I spent a lot of time there, because often I'd go and run a program for a whole week. Like one month I was away for the whole month in Italy, Korea, America, and Australia. So just
Yeah, I do remember you going away a fair amount when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think. It was a good experience, but I've got a few regrets about it and not spending enough time with the young family. So.
But at the same time...
I missed your 13th birthday, actually. I remember that. It was a big sadness for me, that was. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think, you have to make sacrifices no matter what you do. It's just a matter of which sacrifices you are going to choose to make.
Yeah.
But
you need to be deliberate about that. You need to, it's all right to say you make sacrifices, but do you choose the right sacrifices or not, or do you just fall into it?
Right. That's kind of what I'm saying. You have to decide which sacrifices you're going to make. Is it less work, less money, or is it this?
Yeah. I agree.
What do hobbies give you that other parts of life don't?
Well, walking, for example. I was talking to these people yesterday about the effect of walking on me, and they had something very similar. And it's just that you get a sense of peace, and you're not thinking about day-to-day things. You're just looking at the countryside, enjoying the countryside, enjoying the views, and it sort of creeps up on you. And that has a very profound effect on you, a very relaxing effect on you if you walk a lot. And for example, when I do 3 days on the coastal path, it clears my head completely.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to answer that, I would say an escape.
Yeah.
But some hobbies are more of an escape than others, like as in they're more relaxing. For example, guitar, it's extremely relaxing. Chess can be quite stressful for me.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Would you agree that it's escapism? You're able to escape from worries or concerns of your life?
Yeah. And it's obviously engaging with something you enjoy, whatever that is. And so you're in the moment when you're doing it. That's
If someone doesn't have a hobby, what would you say to them? Get a hobby.
Well, I would, but like, for example, there was one guy yesterday whose hobby was walking, and he was very restricted to what he could do because his wife's ill. So he just gets 1.5 day off a week. And so it's very difficult to for him in his circumstances. So you wouldn't always just you need to listen to what's going on in their life before you say get a hobby. So you need to listen and appreciate why they may not have a hobby.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, this is a special section for you, Dad. I'm calling it Real Talk. You had a big moment a while back. Obviously, when I was young, you nearly died twice, really.
Twice, did I?
Well, your aneurysm.
Yeah.
What did you have exactly?
Well, I had a subanachroid hemorrhage.
Can you say it slowly?
A subanachroid hemorrhage, which is like a burst blood vessel in the brain, really. And they put a clip on it, and they did that, operated on it, and 2 weeks later I got what's called a pulmonary embolism, which is the result of the surgery. You get a blood clot in your system, and that's very difficult. And both of them, there's a high chance of dying, but I didn't, as you know.
Yeah, you're still here.
So I'm still here.
But,
yes.
Yeah, but I do remember you trying to recover after the blood clot, and I remember you trying to run. And you were getting very kind of down and depressed. I remember that quite vividly.
I was. Because, I was on some drugs for my blood pressure, which had been diagnosed as part of this incident, these two conditions that I had. And it was, they were called beta blockers, these drugs, and they meant that you couldn't run at all. So I changed those, and then I gradually managed to start moving a bit more and getting a bit fitter.
And recently you were also diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, prostate cancer. Yeah, just very recently actually. But it's not a super aggressive form of cancer. So I've had lots of visits to hospitals, but the most recent one with a professor in Leeds, she said you're more likely to die with it than of it. So I'm suspending treatment and it's being monitored. So
how did it affect your mindset or your daily life when you first kind of heard about it?
I think it's still affecting me now.
Does it?
Oh yes. It does make you depressed and aware of your mortality, and just think about life a bit differently. And it's like, if you learn anything like that, it's never going to go away. You know, you're always going to have that knowledge. And there's someone who I know who's an ex-GP, and she said the reason they didn't used to scan men was because there's so many men that have prostate cancer. I saw an article on the TV this morning that said 1 in 8 men will get it, 1 in 4 black men will get it. So it's very, very high. But there's so many varieties of it, from the very aggressive that can kill you in a few years to the far less aggressive sort that, as I said, you're probably not going to die of, you're going to die with.
Did it affect kind of your view on health and hobbies? Like, are you running more and exercising and eating healthily? Because, like, is that a factor?
I think it is, yes. I think it's in the background, though. It's not, because I've always wanted to stay fit and healthy, and that's always been a driver for me. But it makes me think, well, what have I done to create this? You know, have I been eating the wrong thing, or, you know, so too much meat, for example. You know, I mean, I heard someone on the radio a couple of days ago who was talking about protein, and she says, you know, I get most of my protein. She says, I'm not vegetarian, but I get most of my protein from vegetables rather than meat. Particularly processed meat can be really cancer-inducing.
Right.
So
yeah, sometimes we wait until something serious happens to slow down and rethink things. Is there anything you wish you'd done differently in the past?
Well, I think it's important to be in the present and to think about the present and the future. Once you start having a lot of regrets, that's a dangerous road to go down, I think. So I may have done some things differently, but I don't regret my life. My life's been a good one so far. I've got 3 children. They all live close by, so I've got good relationships with them. I've got a good relationship with my wife. We're comfortable financially, but we're not rich. I've got a nice car, a nice house. So I've got a lot going for me.
Yeah, you definitely have. Yeah.
So I need to, rather than have regrets, think about blessings, and I think that can. But you know, it's difficult to do sometimes, but you need to do that, I think, and count your blessings.
Count your blessings. Yeah. What do you focus on more now, then, or what matters more to you than it did before?
Well, gardening. Actually, I've forgotten gardening. Again, it's another hobby that I've forgotten about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm far more passionate about gardening than I used to be, and by that I mean growing vegetables, not flowers and things. We've got an allotment, and I'm really enjoying that more now. And I'm constructing beds and stuff like that, and that's quite serene and quite peaceful.
Okay, at the end of every podcast episode, I ask the guest some challenge questions. They're not too difficult, they're just more fun. So, number 1, if you could keep one hobby forever, but had to give up all the others, which one would you keep?
Running.
And which one would you never go back to then?
Squash. I'm not going to go back to squash.
Right. Running. Why did you choose running?
Because it's social, it's active, it's very serenity about it. It just helps you have a clear mind.
Great. Challenge number 2. Life in 1 sentence. If you could sum up what you've learned from all your hobbies and your health journey, let's say in 1 sentence, what would it be?
It'd be the repeat of what I previously said, which is count your blessings. Think about the positive things in your life rather than regrets or negative things. They can take you down and demotivate you. So think about the good things in your life, because we've all got bad things, we've all got good things, but if you focus on the good things, you'll have a positive attitude.
I like that. Focus on the good things, count your blessings. Really good, Dad. Challenge 3, advice to the younger you. So imagine you could go back in time and give advice to yourself at 30 years old. What would you say?
I'd say learn to relax more in whatever way you can, whether that's walking or Tai Chi. I haven't mentioned that actually. I do Tai Chi as a hobby.
Of course, you do Tai Chi a lot. That's another hobby.
Yeah, so, but I'd say find something that gives you a sense of calm and peace, whether that's walking, dancing, Tai Chi, squash, running, anything that you love, something that you love doing that calms you down. Find something like that and do it regularly.
Interesting. Would you like to talk a little bit about Tai Chi?
Not especially, but I don't need to particularly. But
No, that's fine.
I've found it very good, and it's helped me sleep, and it's given me more energy. So but I need to focus more on it than I have.
Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I think that is the end of today's podcast episode. Dad, thank you so much.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Yeah.
I think a lot of people will relate to what you said about kind of your perspective, life lessons, and your view on the world. And it was really fun and interesting.
Good, great, thank you.
Thank you again for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.